Hello everyone, this is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 6th episode of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Coastman. I'm joined today by Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how you doing?
I'm good, Joey. How are you?
Very good, very good. I just want to say before we get into this show, we're having a lot more views every time we do a show. So I'm very, very thankful. I can speak on behalf of me and Ayaz here at the BoxHard Podcast. We're very thankful for all the newcomers, all the people that are now listening to the show. Please tune in every week. It'll get exciting and more exciting all the time. Okay, we're going to roll into this show. This show is called The Review and Preview. We're going to roll straight into the review side of the show. There hasn't been much on for the last week or so, and there's not much on for the next week, so this shouldn't be such a long show. But I'm going to start on the Friday. There was one fight on the Friday that I was interested in. This is last Friday. We had Kiko Martinez on his return to the ring after losing to Scott Quigg. Now, Kiko Martinez got a first-round knockout win. It was over in Spain, where he's from, of course. So a little homecoming for him. Good to hear that he's got a win under his belt. Kiko Martinez now moves to 33-6. He defeated Harold Molina. Not a very credible opponent in Harold Molina, but just a return fight. So he's got another win. So that's good news for him. Okay, moving on. That was on Friday. Moving on to the Saturday night. Where should we start on the Saturday, Ayaz?
We should start at the Terence Crawford fight.
You want to start over there, yeah? Over in
Yes.
Omaha.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so Terence Crawford topped the bill in Omaha, Nebraska. He fought Deary Jean. He stopped him in the 10th round. This was a really good fight. Crawford, he was too good for him all round. I mean, let's not mince our words. He was too good for him every round he come out. I don't think Jean won a round, really. I think I might have given him one round generously. What do you think of that fight, Ayaz?
I reckon Terence Crawford boxed really well. I reckon he could be set with a fight with Pacquiao soon, hopefully in April.
Yeah, there's been talk about that. How do you see that one going?
In my opinion, I reckon Crawford beats Pacquiao. After watching Pacquiao's last fight against Mayweather, he didn't really do much, and Crawford is a very big threat to Pacquiao.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but damn, just because he didn't shine against Mayweather, who's arguably the best boxer of all time, I'm not saying that's my opinion, but I'm just saying he is considered one of the greats. And so is Pacquiao in his own right, to be honest, but just because he didn't shine against Mayweather don't mean he's washed up, he ain't got nothing. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because Crawford is a beast. But Pacquiao, he was even more of a beast. But I don't know, the age that Pacquiao's at now, if he was younger, all right, who would you choose if he was younger? If Pacquiao was about 28, 29, 30?
In my opinion, that's a very good one. Because Crawford is young still at the moment, and he still hasn't yet to prove himself against a top elite fighter. Obviously, with Pacquiao, if he was at 29, 30, then it would be a different fight. But I reckon when Pacquiao was young, he was knocking out everyone. So in my opinion, I reckon Pacquiao would beat him if he's at when he was 29 years old.
Yeah, I think so. I think Pacquiao beat him, but now it would be such a cracking fight. It's gonna be crazy because not only is Crawford a good boxer, but he actually, he can crack as well, which is really good for a guy he's only at the 140 division, but even when he was at 135, he looks like he hits hard. He's got a lot of knockouts. It'd be good to see him fight Pacquiao. I really, really hope that fight happens. But, he has fought a few elite fighters, Ayaz, to be honest, because he's fought, Ricky Burns, arguably, I don't know if you'd call him elite when he faced Crawford, but he was still a world champion. You've also got Gamboa. I think that was a wicked fight. That was the breakout fight, in my opinion, for Crawford, because he just blitzed Gamboa, knocked him down and everything. Gamboa never lost in his career. I don't even think he was ever knocked down. And he was a world champion. He was untouchable. And Crawford just messed him up, man.
Yeah, that was a very good fight, the Gamboa fight. But obviously, we'll see, because Pacquiao recently said, didn't it, Bob Arum came out and said that Pacquiao's last fight is in April. Obviously, he said that it could be Crawford, Khan, or Provodnikov. But Crawford fight would be very interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Moving down that card, Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, he fought Rafael Zumbano Love, who we saw stopped by Joshua. Well, he basically blitzed him out in the second round. I remember there was a little vine on Twitter. It was just a replay of the punch that Joshua landed on Zumbano Love. He just completely wiped him out. It was like, it almost reminded me of if you throw a bowling ball down a bowling alley and just completely get a strike and knock all the pins out the way. That is what he did to the chin of Zumbano Love. However, Andy Ruiz Jr., good fighter in his own right, he stepped in there. It was only an 8-rounder. And I was pretty disappointed in Andy Ruiz Jr. I was a little bit disappointed in Ruiz, but I was also a bit impressed with Zumbano Love. We didn't see much of him against Joshua. Obviously, like I said, he stopped him in the second round. But he seemed to, his punch resistance. Well, he could take a lot of punches, put it that way. I mean, Andy Ruiz Jr. was just landing punch after punch after punch after punch, flush. He could not get Zumbano Love out of there, and I could not believe it. I really thought Ruiz was going to get him out of there pretty early, but he ended up going the distance. I think he won every single round. Well, he had to have won every single round, but I was a bit disappointed in Ruiz Jr. because that's not a good look, He's had 25 fights. He's considered one of the fringe sort of world level fighters from America in the heavyweight division. There's a few of them. But he couldn't get Zumbano Love out of there, so I was a bit disappointed in that. Did you catch that one at all, Ayaz?
To be honest, that was actually a good fight, the Andy Ruiz and the Rafael Zumbano fight. Obviously, we know Rafael Zumbano from the Andy Joshua knockout.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But a bit disappointed in Andy Ruiz Jr. But anyway, moving down that card, Evgeny Gradovich, he had a fight. Obviously, this is his return fight from losing to Lee Selby, losing his world title to Lee Selby. He stepped in against Aldemar Silva Santos. Evgeny Gradovich picked up a split decision win after 8 rounds. This was closer than what it should have been, this fight. Gradovich obviously is experienced at world level. He was a good champion. Selby absolutely beat him up, to be honest, gave him a proper boxing lesson at the O2. But he's fighting a guy with a record of 19 wins and 8 losses. I know that you can't just go by someone's record, but, Gradovich, I really expected him to get Silva Santos out of there early, but he failed to do so. So it was a bit disappointing for him. I don't know what he's got left in him. Moving over to... There was a card in Sheffield Arena, of course. I can't believe I forgot. We had Gavin McDonnell's trainer on the show last week, Dave Caldwell. Gavin McDonnell, he didn't top the bill. He actually didn't top the bill. I thought he did, and I actually said to you, Ayaz, last week that he was topping the bill. But to my surprise, Chris Eubank Jr. topped the bill, which I don't think's very nice, to be honest, because I know that Eubank Jr., he's got an interim WBA belt, but it's his first fight with Matchroom, and he's kind of jumped straight to the top of the list. However, I know that this was supposed to be Kell Brook. He would have been top of the bill. And obviously it was supposed to be going out to Dusseldorf, and it would be Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko, but the pay-per-view, that would have all been on pay-per-view, but the fights obviously got cancelled, so that's been rescheduled for a later date. But Gavin McDonnell, I'm going to start with him. He fought Jeremy Parody, who we saw fight Carl Frampton, I think it was 2 years ago now. Gavin McDonnell won this fight unanimously after 12 rounds. So he retains and successfully defends his EBU European Super Bantamweight title. So another win for Gavin McDonnell. He now moves to 14 wins, 0 losses, 2 draws. Chris Eubank Jr. now. Did you see this fight, Ayaz?
I watched this fight. It was actually a good fight, but obviously we knew he's going to take out Tony Jetta in the earlier rounds.
Yeah, to be honest, I hold my hands up. I didn't know much about Tony Jetta before this fight, but Eubank Jr., he's just... I mean, you know what you get with Junior. You know, he fights flashy. You know, if you don't like that type of stuff, then you're never going to like him. But if you actually can sit there, ignore all the antics, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, you watch his boxing. He's a fantastic boxer, you know. His jab is incredible, by the way. I know he's only fighting these opposition, you know, not as big opposition as what we want to see him in with. But, you know, he seems to just, you know, he gets people out there when he should do. Which there's another thing. A lot of people, they go, oh, yeah, you've been fighting bums, but you couldn't even get that bum out of there. He literally does knock out all these so-called bums. He does. You know what I mean? We can't complain about that. He's got good power. You know, he's very, very elusive. When people are throwing punches, he's good at slipping them, whether he's going forward or backwards. Eubank Jr., you know, very good jab. Very good right hand. Also, his lateral movement is brilliant. Like I say, when someone does fire a shot at him, he very rarely takes it flush. Well, we know he's fighting next. We know he's fighting Gary Spike O'Sullivan on the December 12th card on the undercard of Joshua White. We're going to have Gary Spike O'Sullivan on the show a bit closer to his fight. And hopefully we'll secure Dillian White. He'll be on the show as well. It'd be very good to hear from the two away fighters on that massive card. Atif Shafiq was also out on that card. He moves to 15-1. He got a win over Jamie Robinson. This was a bit of a rivalry match here, but Shafiq done really well. And they was very good friends after the fight. You could see the sportsmanship was very, very good to see between them, which you don't get a lot of the time in boxing. But, okay, so it's time for our first guest. Okay, so Gavin, what inspired you to get into boxing?
Well, what it was, obviously I had 5 amateur fights. I packed in when I was 16 and then didn't do no boxing up until my mid-20s, you know what I mean, early 20s. But it was, our kid was a pro and he won his British title. Then we went out to France when we fought Jerome Arnold for the European title and I seen him win that and I said to everybody, like, do you know what I mean, we were sat having a few beers and what have you. I said, if you can do it, do you know what I mean? I said, I can do it. And everybody sort of just laughed at me because obviously I'm a lad's lad and, do you know what I mean, they didn't take it seriously. And I come home, got in gym with Steffi Bull and never looked back really. I had my first fight within 5 months. And then, do you know what I mean, I had my first Central Area title fight in my 6th fight, and then just snowball from there, really. And then obviously European champion now. Do you know what I mean? I think I've only been a pro 6 years, 5, 6 years. So I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah, because as you say, like you was a lad's lad, used to live for the weekends, and you've gone from that type of life to, you know, one minute you're a weekend person, next minute you're European champion. Has it hit you yet?
When I sit down and think, do you know what I mean? When my life will win, it's not that I was a bad lad or out like that, do you know what I mean? But I won't really win in nowhere. Do you know I always thought, do you know what I mean, working 9 to 5 would never really have had no. And obviously, I'm glad I put the gloves back on because, in theory, I genuinely believe I'm going to be a world champion, and obviously you get paid well. I've seen my brother, he's getting good paydays, and it changes your life. And if I never really laced them back up, do you know what I mean, put the gloves back on, I probably would have just been in a 9 to 5 job, do you know what I mean, and had to work a lot harder than probably what I would in my short career, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm glad, do you know what I mean, that I put them on and switched my life on, because it's took a lot of dedication, you know what I mean? I've literally switched my life upside down. It's no other way now, do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's a long time ago since I was that person, you know what I mean? So now it's all that I know. I get up, you know what I mean, and live the life of a boxer. I won't have it any other way, really.
You mentioned about you want to go on to be a world champion. That's your dream. How soon do you think those type of fights will come around for you from now?
I think if I really wanted them and push them, obviously they could get made sooner than you probably think. But obviously, you've got to be ready for them sort of fights. I mean, and them sort of guys. And I don't think I'm quite ready. But I mean, if the world title got dropped on me in my next fight, I'd take it and believe I could win it. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, I believe that you've got to be ready for them. I need a couple more good wins. I think in theory, probably say in 12 months' time, I'd start thinking about a world title fight. Do you know what I mean? I think within a year and a half, I think I'll fight for a world title. But who knows? You know what I mean? People are getting shots a lot sooner than they would think. Opportunities come up. You know what I mean? Who's to say I can't fight for one in the next couple of fights? You know what I mean? We all depend. You know what I mean? You just got to take one fight at a time, and I'm learning with Colwell. Do you know what I mean? At a phenomenal rate. We're really working hard and coming on leaps and bounds. So I won't put it out of question next year. Do you know what I mean? Where we have a world title fight. I mean, do whatever. Do you know what I mean? As long as I'm kept busy, getting fights, progressing in the right way. As long as I keep winning, the fight's going to come. It's going to come eventually. So. I mean, I'll just wait, see what happens.
And at the moment you're ranked third in Britain in the Super Bantamweight division. So you've got Frampton and Quigg are above you. So I know that you said you're not ready for a world title at this stage. So it's very honest of you to say so. So are you happy with the third place ranking at the moment?
I'd say that's how it is. I mean, guys have been in the game longer. They're both world champions. You know what I mean? Rightly so, they're above me in rankings. Obviously, it's up to me to chase them down, and they won't be looking back at likes of me. Do you know what I mean? So it's up to me to get myself in positions to fight for their titles. Do you know what I mean? And like I said before, I'm willing to earn my shot. I mean, I won't be out calling fighters out and trying to get my shot that way. I'll happily go that route. You know what I mean? Have my fights, have my eliminators, and earn my shot. And I generally believe when I do get a shot, do you know what I mean? I'll win the world title and keep it.
What is your prediction on the Frampton Quigg fight if that was to take place? How do you see that going, Gavin?
I mean, it's an hard one. I'm forever changing my mind because they both impressed me. Like each time, and I think on the last both performances, I think Quigg sort of just impressed me a little bit more than Frampton. So, probably as it stands, I probably just, not really, you know what I mean? Because it's just been one of them where 1 minute it's one, next it's next. They both can win, they both could knock the other one out, and they're both capable of beating the one on points, do you know what I mean? I think Frampton's probably got a little bit more boxing skill than Quigg. You know what I mean? Both heavy-handed. So I don't know. You know what I mean? It's going to be an interesting one. I won't like to put my money on, we're going to win it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Either. You know what I mean? Can't really pick it. Who would you say?
Putting me on the spot now. Well, I don't know. You know, it is one of them ones. I mean, I thought Frampton for quite a while, but like you say, on their last performances, Quigg dispatched of Kiko Martinez.
I think he might just have edged his nose in front. For me, do you know what I mean? On there because how he took Kiko out. I mean, you know what I mean? He's no mug, is he? And obviously Frampton stopped him and then beat him on points, but Quigg just took him out in 2 rounds. You know what I mean? That was a bit of a shock and a big statement, really, in my opinion. And I think that's probably why, maybe just a nose in front, maybe. I'd say. Obviously, because Frampton he did well in his fight, but didn't shine. You know what I mean? I think Quigg just took the shine on, you know what I mean, on his fight. So I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a good fight. They're both as good. They're both up there. You know what I mean? Quality fighters. So won't be surprised if either one, whoever won it. Do you know what I mean? If they knocked one out, or do you know what I mean? It's a good fight. I'm glad it's happening as well. Been waiting that long, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? We just want to know who's number one, don't we?
Yeah, we certainly do. No one can ever say just one thing about that. They can never say, whenever you ask them, they can never say, oh, Quigg or Frampton. They've always got to go on and say so much.
Well, that just goes to show. All my mates But when we talk about it, the switch all the time. It's literally like normally you have a fight and you always like Mayweather Pacquiao. You're either a Mayweather or a Pacquiao, and we have this discussion and they always stick with the same one. You know what I mean? I had a couple of mates always Pacquiao. Nah, this, and a few of us were Mayweather. And we're like, no, we always argue. But I think with Quick Frampton, they're all just switching all the time. You know what I mean? It's always like they like getting pressed every time. You know what I mean? So it probably is really the closest 50-50 fight there probably has been. You know what I mean? In recent time, I'd say.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that. Now you've only boxed in the UK so far in your career, mainly in Doncaster, obviously. Your brother's been away. He's fought abroad 3 times. Obviously, when he won the European title in France, and then his 2 last fights against Kameda in USA. How would you feel about boxing abroad?
This is where I want to fight. I want to go out and fight in America. Do you know what I mean? I've seen with my own eyes. It's possible. Every fighter wants to go fight in America. Do you know what I mean? Can try and conquer America. I think I could. He's got foot in the door now, and I think. Do you know what I mean? He's going back out there next year. I think. I've been out twice. I sort of know what it feels like without fighting. I'm getting good experience out there. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing training. So yeah, obviously I want to, like I have been doing, I want to follow in my brother's footsteps and fight out in America. Obviously take things one step at a time, obviously. But I won't mind to fight a couple of fights out there and raise the profile and what have you, and try and crack it.
Okay, Gavin, I'm going to pass you over to my partner Ayaz. He's got a couple of questions for you now.
Yeah, no problem, yeah.
Hello, Gavin. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Can we see yourself in the future move up a weight?
Yeah, definitely move up. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when, because I made the weight. I've always made the weight. It's never easy, as most fighters say, but I've made it comfortable. And we've just got a nutritionist in, and this fight, I made the weight. I mean, and I'm unbelievable. You know what I mean? So, I think I've got probably a year at this weight. Anyway, I would have thought so. But I think, as I get a little bit older, I'll probably move up. You know what I mean? I'm big for weight anyway, and probably big for featherweight. So I'll probably go up maybe a weight. Who knows? Maybe a weight or 2 in time.
You sparred your brother, Jamie. Who got the better hand, you or your brother?
Say out of 3 rounds, he probably just 2. You know what I mean? Depends if I'm in a lot better nick than him, better shape. He comes in, I can just edge him out of it. But if we both bang at it, I mean, he's got that experience and knowledge. You know what I mean? And he knows when I'm tiring a little bit, he knows where to get his little breathers and that, because he's been in the game a lot longer. He can just edge me on little things like that, but if you ever watch the sparring, like, do you know what I mean? There's no holding back, like, you know what I mean? We really do get a good go, like.
When can we see your brother Jamie next out in the ring?
I think early next year, similar to me, January, early February. I mean, I think they're just on way putting out his fight, more than likely in States again. I think next year is going to be a big year, not just for him, but for me. I mean, we've had a great year this year. I fought at Sheffield Arena twice, achieved my dream, what I said I was going to, European title, and defended it, and he's gone out to America twice, where on paper he's supposed to get beat, and then pulled off 2 big upsets. But I throw a marriage in there, where I got married. We've had an 8 years, you know what I mean? But obviously, I'm hoping to top it next year with some big fights for us both.
One last question. Who wins, Lee Selby or Leo Santa Cruz?
It's hard to say, really. I'd want Lee Selby to win, obviously. But Leo Santa Cruz looked a beast, didn't he, against Mares about a couple of months ago. It really surprised me, because I rate Abner Mares, and he just took him to bits, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? He didn't even get a look in. So, and especially if it were in States, you probably have to favour Leo Santa Cruz. I think Selby on his day could probably outbox anybody in division. He didn't have his best of days last fight. We all know he's a lot better than that. And I think he's capable of beating Leo Santa Cruz. I mean, but he'd have to be on his best. I think he would as well with a big name and a big fight. So it'd be nice to see that fight.
Thank you. Pass it back on to Joey.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Gavin, I wanted to just end this with a little fact. I know that we spoke to Dave Caldwell last week, and he said that there's a few times in the gym there's a bit of banter between you and your brother.
Yeah.
Now I can say that you've had 16 fights professionally now.
Yep.
When he had 16 fights, all of the opponents he'd fought, their combined record was 123 wins for 196 losses, so more losses than he'd had wins. You, after 16 fights, 172 wins, 132 losses, so you're one up on him there.
That's a nice fact to know, that, mate. You know what? That will be getting pulled out. It's just I need little facts like that, you know, because obviously, how can I outdo him when he's got everything I've got? I always pull that one out. I'm still unbeaten. I mean, then he pulls out, well, you've got your draws. You know what I mean? Their losses on your own show. You know what I mean? When we really get at it. So it's nice. You know what I mean? I've got a little bit more ammo there. That's two little things I've got.
Yeah, I'll send you that one in a text so you can say it word for word when you're next in the gym.
If you send me in a text when we're finished, I can screenshot it and I'll always have it in my photos.
That's it. That'd be brilliant. Okay, Gavin, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you.
No problem, mate. Anytime. You've got my number now anyway, so just give me a bell.
Thank you very much, Gavin. Please take care.
No problem. Okay.
See you soon.
See you later, mate.
Okay, it's time for the second part of the show. This part of the show is called The Preview, where we preview the fights that are on this weekend. And also on Friday, there's a few fights on the Friday. In fact, there's more fights, more notable fights on the Friday than there is on the Saturday. Okay, we're going to start with a small little card in Harrow Leisure Centre. Top of the bill, Miles Shinkwin. He fights Daniel Bilisansky. Miles Shinkwin looks to move to 12-0. Moving down that card, Georgie Keane, he's out against Nathan McIntosh. Nathan McIntosh is unbeaten. He's 8-0. Georgie Keane 6-1, of course. So that should be a pretty tough little contest there for Georgie Keane. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on. Also down that bill, highly controversial, Prince Patel's out as well. His opponent hasn't been announced as of yet, but he's looking to move to 3-0. That's it for that card. Also on the Friday night, he makes his debut in Newport, Wales. Andrew Selby, obviously the brother of Lee Selby, world champion. Andrew Selby, who was a fantastic amateur, he's out against Haji Juma. Again, this is just his debut. Haji Juma's got a record of 15 wins, 7 losses and 5 draws. It will be interesting to see how Andrew Selby gets on in his first professional fight, so that'll be good. Moving over to Orlando, Florida, USA. Top of the bill over there, Tony Thompson fights Malik Scott. Tony Thompson, 40 wins, 5 losses, fights Malik Scott, 37 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw. So 77 wins between these two guys. This is obviously a heavyweight. It's only a 10-rounder. But this is a PBC card. It will be very good to see this fight. Hopefully, they're going to show it on some sort of TV. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it, but I'd love to see this fight. This would be really good. Malik Scott's a good friend of mine personally. Tony Thompson, we've seen him upset the likes of David Price. Who's the Cuban he beat as well? Solis. He beat Solis. So he's quite old, but he's a very crafty veteran. Obviously, he's a southpaw. He lost to Klitschko, which everyone does when they get to that level at the moment. But Malik Scott, he's only got 2 losses, 1 to Derek Chisora. I was actually at that fight. That was in Wembley Arena, and he knocked Malik Scott down. Malik Scott was winning every round, and he knocked him down with a shot to the temple, and Malik Scott got up at the count of 9, and the referee waved it off. It was very, very strange, and very, very disappointing for anyone who was at the venue. Malik Scott's other loss was a first round knockout he got knocked out in the first round against Deontay Wilder. I think that was on the undercard, if I remember correctly. I'm not looking. I think this was on the undercard of the Danny Garcia Mauricio Herrera card in Puerto Rico. Are you interested in that fight, Ayaz?
Yeah, I'm interested in that fight. I want to see, obviously, like, they're quite old, both of the fighters, and I want to see, like, how what the fight's going to go ahead like. Obviously, we know Tony Thompson of his fights when he fought our good guy David Price and knocked him out twice. So I'm actually looking forward to this fight.
Yeah. So Malik Scott, well, again, Tony Thompson, I think he's 41 or 42. Malik Scott's about 33, 34, so not super old, Malik Scott, but yeah, very experienced. A lot of people don't know about Malik Scott. Malik Scott used to be in training camps with Lennox Lewis. That's where he picked up a lot of his stuff. Also, moving over to Massachusetts, USA, Stephen Ormond, he fights Orlando Vasquez. Stephen Ormond, I think he only fought about 2 or 3 weeks ago, also in Massachusetts, so he likes that place, and he's out again. It's only an 8-rounder, but he fights Orlando Vasquez. Stephen Ormond's record, 19-2. Orlando Vasquez, 18-6-1. That should be interesting. All of those fights that we've mentioned, they're all taking place on a Friday night. So we're moving over to Saturday. There's only one real fight of interest on Saturday. This is obviously Halloween night. It's a fight in Houston, Texas, USA. Jamel Charlo, he fights Joachim Alcine. Jamel Charlo looks to move to 27-0. It's a 10-rounder, 154, super welterweight, light, middleweight, whatever you want to call it. He fights Joachim Alcine, who's 35-7 with 2 draws. Promising prospect for the future, Jamel Charlo.
Yeah, I reckon he's an actual prospect, and I want to see what he does, like, hopefully in the future, like who he fights.
Yeah, he's obviously got his brother, Jamal Charlo. A lot of people confuse these two, but both of them are good fighters in their own right. Okay, it's time for our second guest on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mauricio Herrera. Welcome to the show, Mauricio.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Right, I'll roll straight into this. You're 35 years old now. Do you feel that possibly it took you quite a while to get the fights that you perhaps wanted? I mean, like, it took you quite a while to get into the public's eye. What do you put that down to?
Well, it was, it wasn't really, I've only been pro like about 7 years, I think. For me, it kind of happened fast, but, just the process of going pro took a while, of doubts and not having the right people, take me to go pro, not knowing, where to go, how to go about it, So, I managed myself most of my career and trained myself, the beginning of my career.
Talking of fights that you were supposed to lose, going in as the underdog, I've got to start. Danny Garcia. Now, this fight was one of the biggest robberies I've ever seen, if you don't mind me saying. I thought you won that fight so obviously.
Oh, yeah. Of course, my family, my friends, I got a lot of supporters behind me. A lot of them believe I won as well, and so did we. I'm paying for it now. I mean, I'm just you don't feel it right away. At least I didn't. Until now. Now that it's it's been a while now since I think last year. So I mean, I think back on it, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's really unfair. I know that this happens to a lot of fighters, but a lot of people wouldn't even remember that you was the first guy to put a loss on Provodnikov's record. Yeah,
and they didn't. A lot of people never really picked up on me or followed me until the Danny Garcia fight. Was on a bigger stage, so they just, I guess, started following me till there. But I mean, a lot of true boxing fans that know me have followed my career and know that I've been robbed a couple of times in my career.
You're certainly a fighter that's been in a lot of big fights, but you're almost like, I don't know why, but the public seem to just forget you. Only the real, hardcore boxing fans give you that credit. Obviously, this show is UK based. A lot of UK fans know who you are. You probably felt the love before from some of the UK fans, big boxing fans over here.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. And I really appreciate that. I run into a lot of people,
And I appreciate the ones that do know and follow my career, those are the ones that I guess, are love boxing, been in boxing for a while. And there's some, the new fans that come in too, I welcome all in as well.
And what is in your opinion, the toughest fight you've had, Mauricio?
Well, my toughest fight I had probably has to be Mike Alvarado. I think that's the only fight I truly feel was close. But I think that one I lost. The guy, the only fight that I fought wrong. I didn't fight my style. I went out there to try to surprise him, and the worst plan to do was to go against a guy who loves to brawl, and Mike Alvarado was a bigger guy.
And also, I wanted to say, when you started your career, you was heavier than what you are now. It's weird because a lot of fighters, they sort of start with a light sort of weight, and they start going up in weight. Where you've gone down in weight. How comfortably do you make 140 now, Mauricio?
It's a struggle. It's tough, but I mean, I'm 35. I mean, there's a lot of fighters that are, older, and they say they can't make the weight. But I think, it's just discipline. They can make the weight. It's just they get lazier. They got money in their pockets. They fought some good fights, and then they can relax a little and jump in weight.
Now that Danny Garcia's moved up to 140, it's sort of, the division's kind of wide open. Is there anyone in the 140 class at the moment that you're gunning for? Anyone in particular?
Yeah, we were looking to fight Lucas Matisse before, he got the loss with the stall. So, Golden Boy had told me, that changes things now. Of course, he lost, and he'll be out for a while. So, that was the fight we were supposed to get by early next year, So, at the moment, I was, I had mentioned to them that I'm willing to fight anybody.
Okay, so basically, you're prepared to basically fight anyone from 140 up to 147.
Yeah, exactly.
Mauricio, thank you very much for answering a few of our questions. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
And anyone who hasn't watched anything of Mauricio Herrera, you definitely need to get onto YouTube and watch him, because this guy is one of the most underrated fighters in world boxing today. Thank you very much for coming on the show, Herrera. Please take care and good luck in the future. We'll speak soon.
Okay, no problem. Thanks a lot.
Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for on the 5th episode of the BoxHard Podcast. This week, we interviewed Gavin McDonnell and Mauricio Herrera. What a mix. I bet there's no other show that gets those two on in the same show. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. We're trying to get 2 guests on per show now. We do 1 show a week. We want 2 guests a week. So if there's anyone who you want us to interview, please get in touch with us at BoxHard Podcast on Twitter. Any shout-outs, just get in touch. Any questions you want asked to particular people, just get in touch. Please come back next week. We love the support. Keep it coming. We're very grateful. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you next week.